Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, grab a pew if you can find one. The Mandalorian is the dog's nuts. The Mandalorian, the new Star Wars TV series that will be exclusively streaming on the new Disney Plus streaming service. It looks amazing. And let me tell you something else. David Filoni is very much involved in this TV series. But let me tell you something else that's been exclusively told to me and will never be publicly announced. Dave Filoni is now running Lucasfilm in terms of running the programs that they're going to be creating, the movies they're going to be creating. He's in charge of all of that now. Kathleen Kennedy will be in charge of the business side. That's what was decided a few months ago. This will never be announced because they don't want to lose face. They don't want to admit what went wrong with The Last Jedi. They don't want to admit what went wrong with Solo, a Star Wars story. So on the face of it, they're going to carry on as per usual, but changes behind the scenes of the Star Wars franchise have been done. It's there. It's done. It's dusted. So Collider have seen 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes of the first episode of The Mandalorian, and I just want to read their little article on it. I'm really, really excited for the future of Star Wars now. You can be on board with the future, or you can keep on moaning and bitching. The Last Jedi happened, Solo happened, it's done, it's dusted, but the future is bright with the leadership and the genius of Dave Filoni. So let's have a look. We've seen 10 minutes of The Mandalorian footage, and it's out of this world. Just when we thought that behind the scenes featurette was the limit of the exclusive material screened at Star Wars Celebration, Jon Favreau and the team unveiled the real deal, roughly 10 minutes of footage from the actual series. The piece kicked off with the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal, walking into a cantina packed with curious individuals, likely up to no good. The Mandalorian sits down with Carl Weathers' character, Grief Marder, spelling unconfirmed, who sorts through a bunch of pucks, each representing a different bounty, as described during the panel. Grief is running a guild of bounty hunters, and he's looking for someone to go after a very valuable product for a client. Grief explains that the payment will come from someone with deep pockets. He gives the Mandalorian a card and sends him to get further details on the job at another location. From there, the Mandalorian takes to the streets and walks through a market where he passes a Koakian monkey lizard like Salacious Crumb roasting on a spit. There's another nearby locked in a cage. He arrives at his destination, and before he's let in, he's scanned by TT-8L, gatekeeper droid, very reminiscent of the one at Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi. He's escorted in by JNK droid, and ultimately a door slides open, revealing a room full of stormtroopers, as well as Werner Herzog's character, someone clearly affiliated with the Empire. This is probably a good time to explain that The Mandalorian, this is important, is set just after the events of the Return of the Jedi. The Empire has been defeated, and Emperor Palpatine's orders to secretly rebuild in the unknown regions is underway. So these individuals that we see here representing the Empire are likely those who deemed unworthy and left behind, which is probably why their uniforms are a bit tattered. The Mandalorian sits down with Herzog, who lays out the plan. Grief chose the Mandalorian for his job because he's the best in the parsec. An extremely uncomfortable-looking Imperial Doctor, Omid Uptai, steps in, breaking the eerie calm in the room. Herzog explains that the Doctor's enthusiasm outweighs his discretion. They attempt to end the standoff by telling the Mandalorian that they outnumber him 4-1. He replies, "I like those odds." That sounds very Han Solo, doesn't it? They sit back down, and that's when Herzog unveils something to serve as down payment. At first, the Mandalorian is instructed to deliver the target asset alive, but then, much to the Doctor's disapproval, Herzog tells him that proof of termination will be accepted too, but for a lesser payment. The Mandalorian asks him to see the puck, but Herzog explains that this arrangement is a less traditional one. He says he'll be given a tracker and slides, the Mandalorian a piece of Beskar Mandalorian iron, and apparently there's more where that came from. He tells him that the Beskar belongs back in the hands of the Mandalorian after a period of such disarray. That's where the footage wrapped up, but it serves as quite the setup. We don't see a single frame of Pedro Pascal in the flesh, but the way the material is shot ensures your focus is on the Mandalorian and quickly establishes him as a strong anchor to walk you through the chaos. The production value here is through the roof, gritty, visceral, and the scenes also boast an incredible amount of tension, suggesting threats are lurking everywhere and blaster fire could fly at any given moment. The attention to detail is quite striking as well. During the panel, Favreau and Filoni, you see, Filoni's involved, Filoni's there, I like that. Filoni noted that The Mandalorian is a show that should satisfy long-time fans. Of course he's going to say that because they're desperate to get long-time fans back. But also serves as a great entry point for newcomers as well. And this footage suggests they might be able to achieve that. You can watch The Mandalorian on Disney Plus in the US on day one of launch November the 12th. So as per usual with these streaming services, basically us in the rest of the world outside of America won't have access to Disney Plus. Now, the problem is because Disney are being so passive-aggressive against Netflix and basically are out to destroy them. If this was a Warner Brothers streaming service, I'd say we'll be okay. We'll get it kind of on Netflix outside of the US, but that seems unlikely. So I don't see how we're going to see The Mandalorian if we're outside of the US. Now, we've seen with DC Universe that we're still waiting to get kind of international coverage of that streaming service. So that's very disappointing, but we're just going to have to be patient and see how we're going to be able to see this. Look, this sounds fantastic. You know, Jon Favreau is a great storyteller, he's a great director, but David Filoni is running this franchise now. Make no mistake. Now, something that really interested me, that Palpatine has this order that has this kind of, the Empire kind of continuing underground. Is this kind of going to be an explanation to kind of explain to us what happens in that the Rise of Skywalker trailer? Are they trying to insinuate in this series that Palpatine never died in the battle with Luke Skywalker, right? So is Palpatine still alive? Or was this a final order he did just in case they were defeated? This is very intriguing and very interesting. But what I would say to any Star Wars fan who's unsure about the Rise of Skywalker, unsure about The Mandalorian and the future projects, and they're doing a Cassian Andor TV series too, is I can assure you now that Dave Filoni is running this franchise. This is something we all fought for after The Last Jedi and Solo. Now, behind the scenes, this is what's going on. As I said on the top of the show, Kathleen Kennedy runs the business aspect of the company, and Dave Filoni is in charge of the movies and TV shows. That's brilliant. That's great. And this project is something to really look forward to. Star Wars is back on, and it's something to get excited about again.